We have customer categories, that's correct. But in no case a local authority is involved in that distribution of electricity. So who are our customers? So we do have businesses. This would be your typical shopping malls, retail businesses, in whether town or in settlements where there's a shopping center. We do have institutional customers. These are government establishments, various ministries and offices of ministries. We do have other businesses that we call still business. Just GIPF across the road will to be our customer, for instance. We also then have residential. So the classification is such that there's institutional, businesses, and residential. And in all these aspects, we as NORAD actually supply up to the meter. And local authority is not involved. In fact, local authority will also be our customer in the respective offices and so forth. So that is how the setup is.
Okay. How are you dealing, Mr. White, with issues of efficiency? I had a person that approached me some months ago, because of course when you are in the media space, people perceive you to also have contact with people. Right. And it was just an ordinary member of the public who came to me and said, guys, they were not even asking me to write an article about NORAD. They were saying they applied for a quotation, just a quotation, for a village home there, to say how much would it cost us to bring electricity to our home in the village. And that guy was calling me maybe 4 months later saying they have not had a response to that. Right. That is a serious efficiency thing. Are you aware of some of these even inefficiencies when you came in, and how are you attending to them?
Right. No, that is it's a burning question. You're right, Dr. Toivo. In all our engagements with the customers, this issue has come out. We do acknowledge, firstly, that we have got long waiting periods in terms of even offering a quotation. We do acknowledge that we have long waiting periods in actually connecting that customer. We do acknowledge that we have quite a number of backlogs in terms of this. So the pertinent question becomes, but what are we doing about it? This is one of our biggest challenges, believe you me, and if we can address it, we will be going closer and closer to satisfying our customers and the outlook they have for NORAD. So the first thing we're doing and we have done is identifying the backlogs for each and every applicant and putting a timeline to it in terms of how delayed are we, because we do have as an industry a measure of when a certain connection must be made. If it's just a house connection, low voltage connection, how long should we take to connect? If it includes a medium voltage, this simply means it's an overhead line with a transformer on it, and before it goes into the house, how long should we take? So we're classifying that and measuring the backlog behind it. That's number one, identification of this customer so that we are aware and we know about it. Secondly is inventory management. We are devising and we devised procurement methods that are working towards bulk procurement of key material. If you look at what is really delaying us, is the issue of meters, issue of cables, issue of transformer waiting time. And of course, the other aspect, in addition to bulk equipment buying based on the backlog, and of course financially allowable in terms of cash flow, is the use of historical data. Because if we just focus on the backlog, we might not even connect the new ones also timely, and we keep, not clarifying or clearing up that backlog. Is the use of historical data. Because we know, if we take 3 years back, we know how many customers apply at any given center, Ondangwa, Rundu, Opuo, Okahao, you name it, Katima Mulilo, monthly, yearly, we know it. So why do we wait for customers to come and apply before we can buy, for example, this critical equipment I've mentioned? So we're using, buying using historical data to be able to be sort of like proactively already wait for when a customer will come. Construction teams, we have made use of third parties where we are not only using our internal teams, but we are engaging third parties to help us clear the backlog. Another thing that contributes, as we have seen it, is fleet that is shared between our operational teams and new connections.
Yeah.
Those are the statements that were made for the people to believe who I am not. Adding up to the statement of saying that the man is not a man of a sound mind. My friend, ex-Kufut members, ex-force members in those time before independence, they know themselves. I don't have any identity of being a soldier on the other side or on this side by then. That statement from that man, everybody who can see and hear this interview today or tomorrow, I can tell you that statement is defamatory. Defamatory in placing someone in a group of, a military group of which I never was a member. I was never belonging to that military group. I was never eligible. I'm telling you that gentleman, he defamed me totally. And that one, it is what we call defamation of character, if I can just make it straight.
Yeah. So very good for clarifying that. But now, on those groups, what are you doing there? You are there in what capacity? You said you are on some SWAPO and Kufut and the former soldiers. What are you, in what capacity are you there?
On the WhatsApp groups?
Yes. The ones that specific one that you mentioned, you said this one of former Kufut and
correct. I was neither a plan fighter member, I was never in exile. And within the country, I'm in a country, but I was never in Kufut, and I was a young man. After independence, I was 14 years old. The year 1990, I was 14 years old. Now, how can you fit a 14 years old? And, you know, those things can happen also on the other side. Even in SWAPO, people went there like us, underage. I was never there. And here, the employment selection cannot take up people like that. Maybe if it was a young person, they can take a 17 years old person for army. But for training first, and whenever you become 18 years, then you become now a full force member into the field. But it's only as far as I know.
So on the group, you just got added, or what happened? In what capacity?
Yes, I just got added, and people plead on me to say, please stay with us on the group, give us the information on this. And whenever they ask me, I also get the answer of the experience of myself from them, because I said, you can't see yourself. They say, Mr. Vilo, thank you, because whatever you are giving us, even a voice note, an audio clip of 5 minutes, my explanation and my arranging things of how to explain somebody, depending on the question, they say it's more than 5 minutes. They say we catch up and we learn, and you know how to deliver. Delivering an answer or a teachings, or, you know, how a person asks a question, how I unpack myself, and just to say, this is it. They say, my friend, you are more than a lecture. I hear from them, it's not myself. In anything, talking about anything, ask me anything, Mr. Jabela. If we go in mining, talking about mining. If we talk about law, we talk about law. If we talk about industrialization, we speak about industrialization. If we talk about business, we speak about business-oriented language in anything. And not talk about politics. Talk about politics. But it's only that.
So where does it come from? Do you have what is your professional background?
What is your specialization? Yes. My specialization.
Maybe, I don't know, education or
I'm an architect.
You're an architect.
Don't go any far. I'm an architect. Never mind, you find me here now. Property Group Save Namibia. It's just about housing. Talking about town maps, land surveying, urbanization and all that. Anything to do with development whenever it comes to the structures and working something on the land. That's all. I'm an architect.
Okay.
Yes.
Educated in that space, or you are self-taught?
On the education kind of information. Go to the website and see if you will find Potgieter Toivo Simeonenko. You will find nothing. Ask me that question on private, then I'll tell you. Okay. Not on the... Okay. Great. On my education background and everything.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Please.
Yeah, that is
because normally people in Namibia, they go for institutions, right?
Yeah.
And you ask me, education-wise, the way you talk to me,
yeah.
What convince you? How do you convince yourself? Is it a language of a person who is educated or a person who is not educated? Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me.
No. It's to get people to really know who this man is.
Correct. In Namibia, it's a tradition that to really to know this man, they normally go for where did he come from, for them to know whose product is this one. That's very dangerous. That's a very dangerous and the very best secret in Namibia that people do not know. Yeah. If you come from Technikon Pretoria and they note you on that, they will label you on that. If you come from Harvard University and they get to know that, then they label you on that. If you come from the People's Republic of China, they label you on that. If you come from study in Russia, they know how to do with you. If you study just in Namibia, Polytech of UNAM, Namibia, they know how to do with you. That's why I'm saying you call me on private, not on the live show like this. Thank you very much. Yeah, we are educated to some institutions of which we keep also to be a secret, so that the people can be in quandary and in confusion to ask the question you are asking me.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you, because you spoke about how your directness, the way you speak truth to power and all these kind of things, has actually brought you a lot of enemies. What damage has that done to your career? Because people don't want to deal with people that they see as troublemakers and stuff like that.
Enemies in what sense? Enemy what I'm having is not enemies that troublemakers. I don't have enemies even, and I don't consider a person to be an enemy to me. I think that I'm an enemy to them. Yeah. Myself, I'm an enemy. Not a person to be an enemy. I'm already an enemy. Now, be careful for you to attack another enemy. Now, the issue is here. Good question. My enemies are social media people. And the enmities normally is just in the space of the social media. Not those enemies, ground force enemies for the people to attack physically or something. It's just over social media issues. You'll find one drop a voice note insulting, you ignore. One just texting you, you ignore. Those, that's all. But my house is there, my location is there, you'll never find a person coming down there.
But if you stood up today looking for a job, and you go to Ondangwa, one of the big companies there, and say, "Look, I really need a job. These are my skills, and I need to feed my children." People may look at you and say, "This guy, we don't want him associated with our brand," you know, those kind of things. Because activists in Namibia are going through that.
Mr. Toivo, I never look for job. I never look for job. And I never, ever look for job. Let me tell you my background. I only worked for one company that was Express Forwarding and Clearing Agency. That's belonging to the gentleman, the businessman, well-known businessman in the north, Mr. Katapa. Thomas Tapapi is the only boss I work for. From there, I did some other services here and there in the country, but I was just hired. You can hire me to do this service, you can hire me to do this, until to some other point which I cannot explain here. That's why I'm telling you, it's very difficult for me to look for a job. We were never trained to look for a job, but normally we know how to live by ourselves. Self-employment, and if I can tell you that, where have you ever seen an architect look for a job in this world? Yeah. Do your research. Where did you see an architect looking for a job?
I think that to solve any problem, the first step is to understand it and to understand the scale of it. And what we know is that Africa is the youngest continent in the world. And if we just look at the SADC region today, we're talking about around 300 million population-wise. And we know that by 2050, we'll go from 300 million to 600 million.
Sure.
So this is not only a Namibian challenge, this is a regional challenge, this is an African challenge. So when we think about that scale, as you rightly said, definitely youth needs to have a place to work. They need to have an activity, they need to earn their money so that they can provide themselves and to their family a proper life. So for us to do that, we need to create economic activity. We need to invest and we need to develop the cities, the regions, the countries where we are. And how do we do that? We have a tremendous opportunity today. Namibia has, which is the oil and gas. And we need to do that in such manner that we can create in-country value. This is the key. We've been talking a lot about local content. There is a policy that is being analyzed that will analyze to become law. So we need to make sure that these tools will be used in such manner that really creates in-country value. This is what will make the difference between the inclusive development of Namibia or a development that will be more on the side of the exclusion. And making it inclusive, I like to make a parallel with what we do. We definitely grabbed the oil and gas opportunity and we created capability, we created competency in country to make sure that we don't depend on others to provide certain jobs. And with that, we started to invest and diversify in other areas. This was done at our level. It needs to be done at the level of the country as well. For me, this is what will make the difference. We need to make sure that we don't take the shortcuts of being mere intermediates that don't add value, but we really become the ones with the knowledge, the competency to create the value that we so much need.
I really like what you said about inclusive development instead of exclusive development. And it is true, I agree that there's a huge opportunity that oil specifically presents Namibia with. But if you take into account Namibia's history, coming from colonialism and then into apartheid, where our entire economic system was designed to concentrate and eventually funnel the wealth out of the country. That system hasn't really changed since independence, although some of the beneficiaries have been swapped out for others. But I want your opinion about how we can possibly escape the resource curse, because even right now, we're a rich country full of poor people. How will we change that when more money comes? Won't it just make it worse?
It depends. It depends. And I want to be positive about all this. I want to make sure that we keep a mindset where we manage to build and construct things. I would say that there is an opportunity today to invest in teaching, learning, education, and I would say that by our regional standards, Namibia already have a good health system. So if we add this knowledge to close the gap between what is required to operate in the oil and gas and where we are today. So this already will give us a tool and an opportunity to start to build in an inclusive manner. I believe very much that the difference between inclusive and exclusive start with information, with education. This is where I would really concentrate most of the effort. So this is why youth, it's so important, education is so important, giving internships are so important, and this is why we make it part of our plans, either in oil and gas, tourism, everything that we do.
Another very interesting analogy that you made was about growing the cake. And I think that that's very pertinent, because there seems to be a struggle between those who are dead set on grabbing a bigger slice of the cake and those who are committed to growing the cake. But I agree with you that growing the cake is definitely the better future for our country. So what I want to ask you is, what do you see as the steps we need to take in Namibia in order to, on a practical level, on the ground, to grow the cake instead of grabbing a bigger piece?
It comes to what I said before, how much do we know? And it really starts there. Oil and gas, it's a new industry, but it was a new industry for the big players of today.
Yes.
In the 60s, it was a new industry for Norway, it was a new industry for Nigeria, it was a new industry for Angola, and for many other countries. And Brazil as well. Each one of them embarked in a journey of knowledge. And when you have that, and you can project yourself with a very clear vision of where you want to be, you can trace your path. I won't say that I'm the right person to say what Namibia should do, but there are key elements. Making sure that we know what do we have under the ground, making sure that we understand how we move it for the ground to surface, betting on the key leverages that Namibia already has. Namibia has a strategic position, it's facing the Atlantic, it has quite an important port, it has very good logistics connections with other countries. So those are things that already exist. Namibia also have a good education level, especially when we compare it with the region. So all these things are points that Namibia should leverage on their future. The other thing, it has a strong mining history, industry, so welding, painting, moving heavy machinery, those are all things that Namibia knows, operating in a safe environment. So how can we take all this knowledge that already exists and prepare it for the oil and gas?
Okay, no, excellent. There's not much time left, so I'd like to return to the Kaps Kubata Loft Hotel,
Yes.
which will, I believe, be an iconic installation in Lüderitz again. But I'd like to find out from you what we can expect in terms of its development for the next year, for the rest of this year, and for the few years to come.
So the Kaps Kubata Loft Hotel will open in Q1 2027.
Wow.
So 120 years after it was established.
Wow.
1907, 2027. So 120 years. So we are looking forward for that. And we want to make sure that it will be a place that will bring the community together. One of the things that we are going to do is the main colors of the hotel is black and white.
Okay.
So we have a lot of white walls. And why did we choose to have white walls? Because we want to make sure that these walls will be used by local artists to present their vision, their ideas, their art. So it's not just a place where you go to sleep, it's also a place where you go to discover the Namibian art.
Awesome.
It's a place where you go to discover the Namibian history as well. We want Kaps to represent all that. We also want Kaps to represent an investment that will stay and will continue with the town. We remember that there was a period where Lüderitz was rich and then when Lüderitz was not.
Yeah.
But this investment is something that we want to stay forever.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir.